Hey, so today I wanted to talk about the structure of government and how we could possibly optimize our governmental system. um, so first of all, our current system. We have a republic. Our republic is actually based around two main things, and one of these is age, and the other one of these is wealth. Um, so, in order to be elected to a position in the government, you need to have a certain amount of wealth, and you also need to be over a certain age. Um, what we see is uh, people who have massive amounts of wealth are the ones who have the easiest time getting elected. Uh, because they can just spend a very small percentage of their collected wealth and that and get elected, and this small percentage of their wealth is a very large amount in comparison to the average person. So that is one issue that we have. um, so we have a bit of an aristocracy in that only the wealthy can get elected. That's a poor definition of aristocracy, but I'm not entirely sure what the proper word would be for that. Uh, then, of course, because you need to be a certain age in order to get elected, people who are over that age uh, tend to get elected. And usually it is people who are well over that age, people who are, so like the presidency. You need to be at least 35 in order to get elected to the presidency. Well, most people who get elected to the presidency are over the age of 60. Uh, so what we have is essentially a gerontocracy. And gerontocracy is ruled by the elderly. And there are positives and negatives to gerontocracy. One of the positives, well, at least one of the alleged positives, is that with age comes experience and therefore wisdom. So in a gerontocracy, you are essentially choosing the elderly because of their experiences. Uh, and that's a bit of a problem because in the West we don't have a whole lot of experiences to have uh, during our lifetimes, or we all share the same experiences at a very early age and then don't have much more experience afterwards. So, a gerontocracy, one of the negatives is that older people tend to care less about other people. They do what is best for them and make life easier for themselves, and then they die so they don't have to care about the consequences. That is one of the negatives. And of course, another negative is that older people can go into dementia more easily. And we've seen this with several politicians, actually, over the course of our history, even back in the 80s. This was happening. Um, so we have a problem. We're being ruled by elderly rich people who don't have our interests at heart, and they don't care about the consequences of their actions, because even if they were to live long enough to see the consequences of their actions, they are rich enough that they can avoid living in the slop of their actions. Um, so we do need to figure out how to restructure. Now, one thing that we could do is try establishing a true meritocracy. And one way of doing that Uh, well, one way of doing that is by deed. Another way of doing that is by test. Um, we could have uh, we could elect people based on their intelligence scores. We could elect people based on how much good they have done for the community. If we do that, we'd be electing a lot of firefighters and paramedics and doctors and stuff. So we would still, well, if we are electing doctors, we would probably end up uh, electing a lot of wealthy people again, and probably a lot of old people again. If we're electing firefighters and paramedics, we would probably be electing younger people, and younger people who are more middle class. So that could be one way of doing things. As I said before, we could elect people based on their intelligence scores. That would lead to a geniocracy. There are problems with that. First off, the positives. Electing people based on their intelligence means you are getting people who are more readily able to solve problems. They are probably able to change their minds more easily. And so that is a possible good. On the other hand, the opium of the intellectuals is Marxism. So choosing people who are more intelligent doesn't necessarily mean you get a better system, because they could be very experimental and very geared towards leftism, which causes damage in the society. Now, as far as law goes, I am a libertarian. However, and I am a chaos magician, so I believe in sort of doing your own thing. However, obviously, it appears obvious to me that Christian morality is one of the best things that we could implement. Monogamy, monogamous societies are more peaceful. Children raised in a monogamous household are less stressed and more likely to succeed later on in life. Children who are raised in by two parents actually are more likely to be technically capable, believe it or not. Then, of course, you get the mystical side of things with, like, Eastern Orthodoxy. They have fasting rituals that last 50 days. And what this does is it actually engages, if you read Biohistory by Jim Penman, you know that fasting for long periods of time induces a state of mind that is more able to deal with problems, more able to deal with hardships, and is more stable. So, and what he calls that is V, or vigor. So that is a positive of mystical Christianity, the fasting ritual. And of course, we don't want people stealing or getting violent, and Christian morality teaches that stealing, getting violent, it teaches to treat others how you wish to be treated. No, most people do not want to be beaten in the street. Most people do not want to have their property stolen. Most people do not want to be killed. So that is a positive as well. So, yeah, if we could organize, if we could figure out how to get merit back into our system, and figure out how to implement morality in a way that is not oppressive, that would be ideal. Thank you for watching. Peace.